Good morning, Kansas City. Everybody doing all right today? Yeah? All right. Well, we are going to get started here shortly. As we are getting things going on backstage, a couple of housekeeping things real quick. First of all, please, no video recording of the panels today. And please, no flash photography. If you want to take photos, turn the flash off on your cameras. You may have heard the announcement. If you guys want to, all the reserved seating is available now. So if you guys want to scoot over and scoot in and scoot up and all that, it's totally available. You don't have to. I'm not going to force you to move. But if you would like to, you can. Also, once we get started, this microphone that's sitting over here will be your microphone. So think of some questions you guys want to ask. This is your chance to ask questions of our next guests, okay? Everybody cool? Any questions? Everybody having a good time so far? Right on. Who's here yesterday? Most of you. Wow. Okay. So hands down. Who's here today? Today's your first day here? Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Things like this don't happen without all of you guys supporting us. So thank you guys so much for being here. We'll get started shortly. Thanks.
Us at Planet Anime Kansas City. Share your feedback on our social media on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok at Planet Anime KC.
Alrighty, thank you guys for hanging out with us this weekend. You guys had a million things you could be doing, but you chose to spend your weekend with us, and we appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. We are going to get started with our next celebrity guest Q&A. We have a couple of folks who you know from any number of anime, video game properties. Please welcome to the stage. Let's see, first we'll bring up, please welcome Stephanie Young. Come on up. Hello. Have a seat.
Hello. Welcome. Thanks for coming out.
And next we have Patrick Seitz. Come on up, Patrick.
Hi, friend.
Hello. I love the StarCraft 2 t-shirt. That's awesome. It's too bad the game wasn't as cool as the t-shirt is. All right. Wow, that's the way we're going to start it, huh? Okay, yes it is. Again, guys, this is a Q&A, which means you guys have questions. They have answers. What answers they don't have, we're just going to make up on the fly, and you'll never know the difference. This microphone over here is for you guys, so you're not going to offend anybody by getting up and moving around. That's actually what we want you guys to do for this next hour or so. And we'll get through as many of your questions as we can in the time that we have together. So as you guys are thinking about questions, as you guys are moving around, there are chairs. You can sit on the floor, whatever. Be comfortable. I want to talk to you guys about getting started in the industry, because you both came from theater backgrounds, correct?
Yeah. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that about you either.
We're going to learn something about each other today. That's awesome. Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about the skills that you learned in theater, on the stage, how that translates to skills in the booth, because that is a totally different, it feels like a totally different skill set, but maybe for you guys it wasn't that much of a transition. Maybe it was a natural progression of your skills.
I mean, it is, like you said, a totally different thing. In one, you've got one take, you're acting with other people, you're doing it chronologically, and in the other, you are doing, a fraction of a conversation, multiple takes, cold read, never having seen the script. So in a sense, they really sort of are the, direct opposite of each other. But I feel like if you don't enjoy acting with people in order, doing the thing organically together, you might not enjoy doing a fraction of the thing very technically minded in a box by yourself. Not that that's like a hard and fast rule,
Right.
but I feel like if the organic thing isn't your bag, maybe the very technical, like beef jerky version of the thing isn't going to be your bag either.
Right.
But everyone's mileage varies, so.
Okay, interesting.
I think that's a really good assessment,
Thank you.
especially because we have, when we get to work off of each other, when the other person has recorded before you, which is such a luxury, even though after doing this for a while in a show like One Piece, I think we hear each other's voices anyway. Bless you. It's fine. We hear each other, or even just learning over the years to work off of the emotions of the Japanese voice actors that we hear before we speak. Just learning to react in that kind of scenario. You don't have to be a theater actor to be a voice actor, but I just don't think it could hurt if it's something that you are interested in it's such a beautiful world of people to work with, like voiceover, and just getting into character and working in different scenarios and cold reading, which in the theater program I was in, we did a lot of cold reading, and that's basically what we do
all the time.
All the time.
That is the job.
But that's the job, which is exciting and fun. Now we don't have to memorize, and
Thank
that's kind of nice.
I've gotten really bad at memorization over the years. Like if
that's
something
all
isn't in
right.
front of me, I'm like, woo.
Well, it's true. We get so spoiled. We're like, oh, I don't just get to walk into my yoga pants and read. What? Just act? Like, no. So, but it's all wonderful. I think whenever you get to be involved in something creative, it's just self-fulfilling. But I love that there's a lot of theater kids doing this. It's pretty cool. And I think, not to go on too long with your first question,
No, go ahead.
but I know for me, I loved Greek theater in college. That was one of my all-time favorite courses that I took. And you don't see a lot of Greek theater produced.
Right.
It's not going to sell as well as Oklahoma, the musical, let's face it. And I feel like in anime, it feels like Greek theater with the big highs and the big lows.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we get to play in this arena
Yep.
and wear yoga pants. It's great.
And talking a little bit on the technical side of it too, you go from live theater, there's immediate feedback from a group, your audience. You're playing off of another person as opposed, like you said, in a booth. It's you and maybe a director, you and maybe an audio technician, you and maybe somebody flew over from Japan because they want to, make sure things are going smooth. But talking a little bit about the technical, the actually matching lip flaps, to me, that is one of those things that when I see people do it and do it well, we don't notice it. But we all notice it when it's not done well, right? It's the Godzilla version of, of that. Talk to us a little bit about how you moved into mastering that part of the job. Because I can't imagine trying to perform and act, but having to do it so specifically to the timing.
Engineers. Right. We have really good ones.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you kind of get used to it, right? You just,
I mean, there's sort of
Patrick's
no
a director. You should speak to this more.
There's no substitute for doing the thing. I mean, even when
Right.
people have come in and they've acted a lot, I've worked with sometimes on things, people that are like TV or movie actors, and they're great, but there's no substitute for having to deal with the baked-in flap, and sometimes it can be a challenge because they want to take things at their timing, which is valid, and their timing is great, but like, oops, the mouths already are what they are, so you got to deal with that. Engineers save our lives every day and don't get the respect or notice they should. Also, scripts. Because if you've got a line where it's broken up and if you take it as a sentence, you sound like Captain Kirk Spock. If that's all one sentence, it's going to be choppy and weird. But if the person adapting the script can make that into 2-sentence or sentence fragments, it can sound natural, and that way the hitches don't feel like they are, busting your chops so bad. So there's ways around it where if other people have gone the extra mile, it really kind of smooths the path for us as actors when we get in there, and we're not having to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear because someone has put in the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the writing is all the difference, isn't it? And then you just learn to process emotions, not just what you initially would want to do on stage or on screen, but it's just part of what we do, and you get used to it. Like, all right, I have to process this quickly. Let's go. Or I have time. Oh, it's
luxury
all,
of time.
there's a mask on this character. How glorious. We're going to take all the time in the world. It's off the entire time. Those are just luxurious, aren't they? You're like, oh, how fun. It's funny. We started recording Pyscho-Pass again.
Ooh.
Remember Pyscho-Pass?
Yeah.
I'm the voice of the Dominator, the gun. And even though, that's AI more than acting. But it is fun to voice good AI gun. And I don't know. That's another. Everything is off, so it's the easiest session in the whole wide world. Crime coefficient.
You could do worse than have your voice be the last thing you hear before you explode.
Well, thank
Right.
you.
You're welcome.
That's really nice.
Look it on the
Aw.
bright side.
Oh, the bright side of death.
That's right. Oh, let's go to our friends out here on the floor. Hello, what is your name?
My name is Ryan.
Hey, Ryan. You have
Good
a question?
afternoon to the both of you. I don't know if you remember me, Stephanie, from yesterday, but you got to kill me yesterday with my own sword.
Yeah, I woke up with regrets on that photo.
Speaking
I'm serious. I thought about you.
speaking of that photo, are you going to post that to Instagram? Because I liked your version better than my version.
I don't know if I should have a picture of me impaling someone with a massive claymore on the internet.
Oh, you know, it's one where it encapsulates
Patrick, what do we
the
think?
danger
I
of
don't
your
know. It
character.
seemed like a great idea at the time.
I mean, you
I
did
loved
it
it.
for the gram. You gotta post
Yeah, you got to post it.
We'll talk later. It's a beautiful claymore sword.
Okay.
I was just so excited, and no one's ever asked me to do that before. But then I thought, oh, do you want that out there?
Okay, so my first one's going to be a softball for the both of you. Which characters do you like? Did you enjoy voicing the most? And then which of your characters did you think had the best overall character plot, like character arc?
Okay, so we'll take that two questions.
That's a two-part question,
The
yes.
softball part of it. Your favorite to voice, was that correct?
Yeah, which was your favorite one to
Yeah.
voice? And then which one do you think had the best arc?
It's tough because I feel like in my brain there's one piece and there's everything else because we've gotten to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes with our characters. I mean, that's going to be the best character arc. And when it's a show about piracy and adventure and friendship, I mean, that's also going to be probably like the favorite. People are always like, what's your favorite? I'm like, ooh, it's hard to choose one. But the more times I answer that, the more I'm like, oh, I think it's Frankie. Because how could it not be? Like, who's gonna beat that? Who else have I gotten to be for 700 fun-filled
Of your life.
episodes?
right?
Yeah. So I think, but again, it feels unfair against shows that have like 24 episodes. Like, that dude I played never had a chance. He was never going to be the answer.
And he was great.
He was great, yeah, but he wasn't like 700 episodes great. So probably One Piece, yeah.
Yeah, agreed, it is. I used to do the same thing when people asked me in the beginning, it's, like picking a favorite child. And you had all these characters that you love. But again, over the years, 18 years of voicing a character, it's kind of hard to top that. And Robin's character arc in One Piece is incredible. Her change and what happens with her and how I remember I was talking to someone about, I remember when I first got to giggle or laugh or tell a joke because she went from being so stoic to blossoming into this whole person, and it's beautiful, and I'm so, because I love her, I'm happy to see that for her. But if we were to put, One Piece aside, because you're right, it's not fair. It's not fair. But Clare from Claymore was one of my more challenging roles. Just monstering up was not something I got to do. I bet you do monsters like all the, yeah, you do. That's like totally your bag. But I had not gotten to do a lot of that, so it was very exciting to monster up with all that Yoki energy. And but Arachne and Soul Eater.
That is a good one, yeah.
Thank you. She's was so much fun. And there's Olivier. See, then there you go. You start naming all these characters because Olivier is very special too. She's amazing. But fun, just decadent. Like, what do we get to say today? Zach was directing Soul Eater. Yeah, it was great. And we just had so much fun, being a classic villain,
Yeah, I could definitely tell. I watched Claymore again recently, and your monster, when your transformed voice and hearing you do the lines, I could definitely tell that you were enjoying getting to be aggressive.
It was
in
a
that form.
release. It was the year I planned my wedding.
Nice.
So it was therapy in a way? Booth therapy?
Totally cathartic. And I love my husband. I love our wedding. It was a great day.
Here comes the butt.
But picking out napkins and food, even though I've directed theater, I think Shakespeare is easier. And I don't know. Again, it all worked out, but it was funny because I got to have that release in the booth. And it's funny how sometimes our work really helps us in our real life.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll talk about that picture.
I'll be able
Yes, step on up. Hello, what is your name?
I'm Jackie.
Hi, Jackie.
And so we all see the One Piece family as a family. What do you think your role is in the family besides being, what your actual job title is and what your other co-star's role is?
So you're not talking characters, you're talking actual voice actors?
I mean both, actually.
Both?
You want to
Okay.
do both.
You mean like in a family dynamic?
Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, right? Mom, taking care of the family. Gosh, yeah, I know that's what Robin I know that's no big surprise, you know. I love her.
Irresponsible uncle? Like, he might buy you some fireworks, but you're not going to lose a finger. But also, don't tell mom.
Yeah.
Fun uncle.
Yeah.
Irresponsible or fun
Fun
uncle.
I like that
The funkle.
phrasing
Fun
better.
uncle. I know. Zorro, uncle that always gets, well, you know, he always gets lost. Luffy, that fun cousin that you just love being around. Or if I guess if Robin's the mom, I don't know. But little Chopper, I do love their, when we all, right? We have to
a little
love
baby.
Baby Chopper. And Nami, also teenage daughter that you adore, but have to, you know, keep an eye on.
You might get a call about shoplifting.
Oh, I know. We're going to have some talks.
Good question.
Oh, gosh. Jimmy's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Getting in the song. It's too many.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, I'm Ryan. This is for Patrick Seitz. Hi, in Kill la Kill, I love you in it. You play Aragorn. Did you feel any embarrassment of having to shout out his lines or anything?
You know, no, only because I've been doing this so long and I've said worse. Like, it's like doing theater. You do theater long enough, everyone has seen you in your underwear backstage because you've been doing a quick change trying to get back out for your scene. Like, at a certain point, you just have a little bit less shame than you used to. So I went into Kill la Kill not knowing how it was going to go and not knowing just how naked everyone was going to be, but it was part of the plot. So I was like, hey, good job on not having it not just be gratuitous. Like, you really tied it into the storyline. So good on you. So I was a little surprised by that, but no, I've said so much worse. Yeah, I'm unflappable. Good question.
So this is not a profession for the proud. You can check your ego at the door of the booth.
For the most part,
Actors.
Yeah.
It's always weird to me when I'd like to think that for the most part, voice actors are perhaps a little more grounded than on-camera people because we're not having to worry about how we look and how we're perceived and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And there's a certain degree of anonymity to the job. I mean, notwithstanding going to a convention and people being like, oh my God, you're so-and-so.
Right.
But like day-to-day life, you can just live your day-to-day life, which is a bonus as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you don't see that you're going in the booth on Friday, so you got to really hit the gym on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or, you know. Yeah, that makes sense. Hello.
Hi, I'm Theo.
Hi, Theo.
I was an actor in high school, and one thing that I always had at any show was one of my favorite lines in any of the shows. So I'm wondering, what are the top 3 favorite lines you've had out of any anime you've been in?
Well, while they're thinking of theirs, you said you have your favorites?
Yeah, I didn't.
Give us
do
one of your
much.
favorites.
Mine is I was Von Shishaki in Radium Girls, and one of mine was just him screaming at one of the other characters that you're killing these people due to the radiation.
You want to talk about a bad time? Radium Girls that's not a laugh-a-minute show.
No, it's not.
Woo, I read the book recently and I was like, damn. So good on you for getting through that. That's, yee.
Yeah.
Whew. Favorite lines? Oh.
If it helps, you can give a top 3.
Well, I mean, One Piece, I Want to Live.
Yep.
Thank you. Can't recreate it. Not today. But, you know, I Want to Live. I love that line forever and ever and ever. Gosh, with Olivier from FMA Brotherhood, Shut Up and Follow Me.
That's a good one.
That's pretty great. Although I guess she would be more, shut up and follow me, Alex. And the bloated muscles line for Alex. We did that one today. Don't patronize me, Alex. Her bloated muscles are worthless without a spine. She's fun. I know, right? We love. She intimidated me when I first saw her, for real. And I saw her and was like, oh, I have to get her right or she's going to cut me. But those two come to mind. Oh, gosh. I'm blanking. You go. I know there's more.
I think for me, the one is, existing is never a crime, tying it into the Robin moment. Also, very much like when people are like, I don't have a Frankie quote, you just come up with something like, I gotcha. his quote about, if you wouldn't ask a lion to wear underpants, so why a man? Back when they stole his Speedo and they're like, oh, we'll steal his Speedo and that will shame him into submission and he'll join the crew. And he's like, no, I'm just going to live without pants. This is fine. This is my new normal.
That was my only pair of underpants. I don't have anything else to wear.
And then, I mean, he could have tied his shirt around his waist, but he's not about that. He's not capitulating for anyone. And then, it took me a while because the former English teacher in me was like, the grammar of this is killing me. But I finally came around to Dio's line about asking how many breads you've eaten in your life. Like, it was a journey, but once I got there, I'm like, okay, that's funny. Yes, how many breads have you eaten in your life? Sure, cool. I'm just gonna close my eyes to the grammar of that and run with the fun.
Run with the fun. Oh, Nana from My Hero Academia, when she basically says that those who smile are the strongest. I love that. That's such a great life lesson, positivity.
Good question. Thank you.
Y'all making us think.
Hi there.
Hello. What is the weirdest line that you've ever had to say, like in anything ever, where you just look at the line and you're like, what am I reading? What is going on?
He looks like a pineapple. Okay, we'll go with that.
Oh, man. It's hard to think of one because, again, you get to the point where, with everything we do being a cold read, you just run with it. Everything turns into yes and, yes and, yes and. Your mind doesn't balk at anything because you're like, well, this is the job and we have no time. It needs to be done yesterday. So here we go. I'm going to say the thing, even though it's weird. I'm not going to say the line, but I was in a show, you want to talk about, Greek tragedies. I was in a show a million years ago about a guy that accidentally falls in love with his long-lost sister. Because the parents split up when they were...
Star Wars. I didn't know you were in that.
That's funny.
Everyone loves it when it's Star Wars. When it's they're like, ugh.
Rest of the time, no, not so much.
It was some of the lines in that. I'm like, oh, let's get this in one take if we can. Can we get this in one take? And the director's like, yes, please. Oh God, please get this in one take. I'm like, no pressure yourself. And thankfully we did. But we, it wasn't like, oh, I'm looking through the keyhole of God, but it was like we treated it like Greek tragedy of, despite all of your efforts, you killed your dad and you got with your mom. Whoops! It was that kind of a deal. And this guy that's just filled with self-loathing because he's like, I'm doing a thing that is wrong, but it's how I feel, and so it was heavy. I mean, we it's not for everyone, but we treated it with respect, and it felt like theater. In that, like, no one is saying this is a good way to live your life, but these are interesting characters going through a thing, and that's what acting is about.
Absolutely.
But I ain't saying the line. Nope. No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good question. Hello there.
Hi there. Whoa, hello. I'm Joey.
Hi.
Patrick, I love the shirt. It's great.
You.
I had a question for both of you. I was wondering, do you prefer playing a character who has a voice very similar to your own, or a character who has a voice very different than your own?
That's a good question. I don't think I've been asked that question before, and that's saying something for how long I've been doing this. I think, and this is a little bit of actor BS, because a lot of times, even for as long as we've been doing this, it's easy to fall into the trap of, if I don't feel like I'm doing something, am I acting? Yes. Am I giving it its due if I'm not actively pursuing a thing or trying or exerting or whatever it is? And I think with characters who sound like me and I'm just using my natural voice, sometimes I can fall into the trap of, am I doing enough? Or am I just defaulting to my voice? I think from a technical standpoint, if I can do a character like Frankie or Garrosh from World of Warcraft and inject that with nuance or humor or pathos or emotion or whatever it is, it feels like I've done more because I've set this handicap on myself. But then I could also look at that and be like, okay, self, you're just showboating. So I don't have a good answer for that. But the reason I don't have a good answer for that is because my own personal actor BS, I feel like.
I think a lot of us will think that way sometimes. Sure. Overthink things. Yay, right?
I mean, how is that for you with Robin? Because, I mean, Robin is
Robin is me.
Yeah.
I will say, for a character that I voice for such a long period of time, or I have voiced for such a long period of time, I'm thankful that she's just, I mean, right in the wheelhouse. We're there. And that's nice. I'm a singer, and I do that a lot. And I'm thankful that a character that I voiced for so long isn't like Luffy or Usopp. I couldn't do it.
I don't know how they're still alive.
I don't know. I have such respect for my friends. I can't even take it. They're so good. But for me, that I couldn't sing and do that. So I think I'm the only people in Dragon Ball. I'm Towa and Xenoverse, and she doesn't yell either. It's not that I won't. I will. I will yell for Gearbox. No. I will yell. But it's nice to just be able to slip into that. But then it is fun to mix it up. I played this character in a show that was a million years ago. Were you in Glass Fleet? Were you working with us? No, she's just one of the most original characters I've ever had. She was quasi-Eastern European because it was in space, so we didn't have to like really hone in on an accent. We could just have
The
fun
generic accent.
because we're in space. So Sabat was directing. It was awesome, and he's like, she's just like that. I'm like, oh, good. Gives you a lot of freedom. And she wore a couture gown. She reminds me a lot of Arachne, and then she would lounge around in gowns and bark out orders. This character did that too, but she had a hat with a solar system in it.
What?
A solar system was in her hat. She had this big hat and a gown, and she would eat grapes, and she smoked a hookah pipe. Her name is BB Mozzarella. And yes, and the funny thing is that she would smoke the hookah and she would smoke it and go be like, bring me a grape and kill them. I mean, keeping a straight face in those sessions with Raleigh, it was Raleigh and Sabat. I mean, it was almost impossible, but it was so fun. So
you've sold me on watching Glass Fleet.
it was a good show. I know it wasn't it didn't catch on like wildfire, but it was good, and it has a lot of actors that you know and love in it. So yeah, that one character, BB Mozzarella. Mozzarella? Yeah, cheese.
Thank you.
Good question. Thank you.
Smoking a hookah pipe in every scene.
I need to Google that character.
Hi,
Hi.
my name's Ashley. This is a basic question. You've probably heard of it before, but out of every character in One Piece, which one's your favorite and least favorite?
Favorite and least favorite?
Yes.
Well,
I think we kind of covered favorites a little bit.
Yeah. Least favorite. I mean, I do love Chopper, and you're wearing the Chopper hat. And I've told the story to a few people at my table that I got off. You may have heard this, but I got off a ride at Disneyland that terrified my daughter, and she dressed up as Chopper last year. So there's a lot of reasons I just adore that character and connect. And we got off a ride that terrified her, and she was in tears, and I felt like a horrible parent. And there was a cotton candy stand right across the way.
You got it.
You know where I'm going with this. I was like, hey, would you like some sugar to ease your pain? Hey, would you like some cotton candy? Of course, she's like, yes. But I think of that Chopper moment and Robin all the time. Although it's funny, I've started watching with my son. We're on episode 15.
Nice.
Right? I'm so proud of my friends. A little ways to go. But, of course, I mean, Colleen is Luffy. I mean, everybody is just incredible. But I could see why Zoro's all the rage. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. And everybody's great in their role. But my least favorite is going to be, there's two, but for obvious reasons, Spondum.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right? And then, of course, Black Maria. I know they're my personal battles, but they're so evil. But to Oda's credit, he created some really good villains.
Favorite might be. God, it's tough because again, Colleen as Luffy just blows my mind, and Sunny as Usopp blows my mind. He's just always screaming. I remember when Frankie first came in, there was a lot of scenes with Frankie and Usopp because Frankie's like, "Dude, break this ship," and Usopp's like, "No!" But he just screams all the time, and it's great. And then, but everybody is so good. Everyone is amazing. But
I can't wait to see Frankie come on. I'm excited about it.
It might be for me. It might be Chopper because Chopper is baby. He just wants to be an accredited doctor and have friends, and the world's like you can have one of those things from time to time. For me, I mean, I'm about 230 episodes into the dub right now, so I still got a ways to go. But for me right now, it's Eneru. I hate him so much. And it's not even that he's the cruelest person. He's just evil in a banal, I don't know. He just reminds me of a lot of dudes I went to college with who were listening to like Dave, like listening to Dave Matthews Band and being kind of toxic, but with this facade of being philosophical. And I hate his earlobes.
Oh my god.
I went to school with those people.
You know?
I think we all went to school with those people.
Kind of toxic, but being like super philosophical.
Yeah.
Dave Matthews caveat. It's nice.
They usually carry a guitar to the camp out.
Yeah.
Can't play it, but think they
Yeah,
can.
I just some about Eneru. I just the smack hand was ready. Yeah.
Good question.
Do you want to?
Hi, my name's Ilani, and unlike my friend here who is caught up with One Piece, convince me, why should I watch it?
Ooh.
Have you watched any yet?
No.
It's about pirates and friendship and found family with a diversity of character designs that you will see nowhere else in anime. Amazing stories, long running, the music's a banger, the art is amazing, the voice acting in both languages is great, like in all languages. Friendship! Nakama!
And overthrowing
love
the
you.
government.
What he said, and it isn't over 1,000 episodes because it's not great. I mean, you know, at some point you gotta go, maybe there's something to that.
And it's on a 6-month hiatus right now. So I'm not saying you got to get all the way caught. I'm not going to get all the way caught up in 6 months, but you can do some damage in 6 months. It's amazing. There's a reason it's a cultural force.
You got me all excited about One Piece.
Right?
I love it. That's great.
Oh.
Cultural force. Yeah.
Good questions.
Wait, one more thing. Do you collect figures?
Yes, I do.
Okay, then I feel bad because I was about to be like, One Piece is your jam, but also seriously, you shouldn't get into One Piece if you collect figures because you will have no money left in your life. Here's the thing. Some shows, like everyone just looks different with like a different color hair or a different head because all the characters look the same. Not so in One Piece. Everyone's got different body types. It's great. Some people look like a drumstick with like the heavy part down, like Gecko Moria. Some people look like a drumstick held right side up, like the pacifista guy that goes blam, 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 and sends us all into the future. Like, One Piece.
And there's banana gators.
There's banana gators. And there's kung fu dugongs. There's dugongs that do kung fu. There's Laboon, a whale with a heart of gold.
That's bigger than a
He'll make you cry. He's got janky art on his head for reasons.
So now you have your homework.
I'm convinced.
It's due in 6 months.
We have another one in the family, people.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, my name's Alex. So we know how Frankie and Robin interact, because they do interact quite often. How do you guys think Endeavor and Nana would act if their characters were to have met?
Oh, man. I feel like Endeavor...
I was trying to think of one you guys may not have heard before.
I feel, speaking as a fan, I'm not saying anything officially, obviously, but just speaking as a fan of the show, the franchise, I feel like Endeavor has the things and the people he cares about, which are very narrow bands on the bandwidth. And then for a lot of other people and things, he's just, it doesn't mean no never mind to him. And I feel like that's kind of where he would be. Like, he's like, I've got a job to do. I have to go throw darts at my, All Might dartboard again and gnash my teeth over being number one, but not number one the way I wanted to be number one. Also, family trauma, I have to go make a lot of apologies. So, not to blow off the question, but I feel like he would just be like, "Ugh, ugh."
Like if their agencies had, well, did Nana have an agent? If they had to do a specific mission together, obviously it would have been a while back. He probably would have been 2 or maybe lower. But I feel like they would react very uniquely to each other. Because I feel like Shimura would have a much more positive approach, while Endeavor would just be like, let's get this over with.
Oh, undoubtedly.
I've got things to do.
That seems, I think, not to judo flip it back at you, but I feel like you answered your own question. I mean, Endeavor would just be like, it's time to do the job.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi there. Come on up.
Howdy. I had a question about, and this is more for Stephanie because I don't really.
I'm sorry, can you speak into the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
I had a question, it was more for Stephanie, but it could go to Patrick too. But during like intense fight scenes, like specifically the Black Maria fight, which was like pretty intimate in a way, how is that like awkward in the booth, or is like how do you deal with that?
Very awkward. And it's intense and it's emotional. And the thing that got me about that Black Maria battle, and I believe that Emily directed it so beautifully, Emily Fajardo, our director at that point. I mean, Black Maria attacks Robin on so many levels, not just physically and brutally, but just as a woman, as a person, as a child who has lost her parent. I mean, it is deep, dark stuff. And I didn't realize how much it was going to kind of wash all over me until I got into my car. Because, you kind of get out of the booth and then you walk through the hall, and my process is I go get a cup of coffee or something because our coffee area is really nice. And I just try to separate and go back into the real world. And I got in my car and I wasn't there yet. Thought, oh, I need to decompress even more. So it is. But, I mean, that just goes to the storytelling and the impact that it has, and Oda's a genius, that he's able to create these characters that make us feel so much. But, yeah, it was very, I mean, just violated. She was violated. And it was, And, on the flip side, Allison, that voices Black Maria, she's such a lovely person. We've ended up doing, like, singer-songwriter shows together. What? Yeah, we've become friends, and and we're both musicians and songwriters, and we've had shows together. Like I've hosted a show with her in Dallas, and she did the same in LA. And it's interesting how that friendship came out of such a dark, horrible, hard place. That no, thank you for that question. And we all, I mean, we're as actors, we feel deeply. That's what we do. It's part of the job, and it's also in a very strange way you feel excited that you get to go to deep, dark waters and get through it. I mean, luckily that, I'm not going to spoil it, but things work out. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi there. We are getting towards the end, so let's kind of rapid fire. We're in lightning round mode, so give us real quick your question.
Okay. I have a pretty quick question. My name is Zach. I was just curious if you guys had any idea if, for any reason, if Frankie and Robin may or may not have gotten married by the end of One Piece, what do you think the name of their child would be?
I know, wouldn't it be so wonderful? I mean, I know we can't ship anybody and all of that, but they, wouldn't they be great?
My heart.
Child name? What are we naming?
Cola!
Love it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
They would be great parents, wouldn't they? You'd be the fun dad and the responsible mom that got everything done because she has all those hands. It'd be a clean house and a well-dressed child and everyone's fed and all those things that are hard to do.
Hello.
Hi, my name's Aaliyah, and my question is for Patrick. Assuming you're familiar with it, if they invited you back, would you want to play Diego Brando in Part 7 of JoJo?
Yes. I like to work, and I like to be Dio in whatever form he's in. So, Dio was a jockey, Dio was Dio, Dio was a vampire, Dio was a sad rugby-playing teenager in England, Dio was a dinosaur, Dio was a car that transforms anything, whatever. Dio, I'm there, if they'll have me, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Hey, I'm John. I used to be a voiceover recording engineer out in LA until recession '08. I had talent that had their prep before they'd come in. I'm just wondering what you guys do. I know you said that you're not able to recreate the I Want to Live. I know what it takes. So I had talent that needed honey, pickle juice, trip out to the car with a J, whatever it took to get what they needed. Just wondering what you guys needed for your before session.
Water. Right? That sounds silly, but y'all, water. Singing in the car helps me. That's kind of, for me, that's an easy way to warm up vocally. With Robin, for that moment, I listened to a lot of music on the way in, and And then my director gave me a huge pre-roll, Mike McFarlane, because he's awesome. And for that one, there wasn't a lot of honey because we got it in one take.
Nice.
Damn.
Because he set me up for success.
Yep.
He did. Thank you. Everyone had recorded. He gave me time. And then once we got it and we were both crying, he's like, that's it for today.
With a lot of the characters I do are like big voice, big guys screaming a lot. So I feel like my prep, a lot of it is less what I'm doing on the way there, and a lot of it more is strategic scheduling. Like, am I doing this, last thing of the day or last thing of the week if I can get away with it? Can I fit in my cleaner sounding stuff like first thing of the day, early in the day? A little bit of singing if I'm doing something that's like high voice and clean voice, but that's really not something I'm tapped to do a lot because I sound like a monster. So, thank you. So yeah, I feel like just by dint of where my voice sits, I do less sort of prep than, like the tenor dudes I know who are making their bank off of sounding young and clean would be doing.
Real quick, how long would your sessions last for?
I mean, for us, standard is 4 hours.
Yeah, same.
Anything longer than that, you're definitely getting diminished returns. So I feel like it happens very infrequently and only in extremis, like, oh, we need it now, something happened, a deadline got moved, blah, blah, blah. But no one defaults to it and no one loves it. It's always very much like, this is a bad idea, but it's our only option, so here we go.
Yeah, I feel like we have directors that care about us and, they want to preserve things.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, my name is Joe. I have a question for each one of you, just real simple ones. Stephanie, when you were recording the fight scene between you and Armstrong, how much fun did you have recording that? Because Armstrong
One of the best moments ever.
It's one of the best scenes. He was so confident he was going to win that fight, and he just got tossed around so bad.
I couldn't even believe she got to do that. But that was one of the best moments of my acting career. I loved it so much, and I texted him afterwards to let him know.
And then Patrick, to your knowledge, do you know if there's going to be any more Tiger and Bunny anime? Because when you talk about characters that kind of get hidden, Sky High is definitely one of those.
I don't know if there's going to be any more. I didn't even know there was going to be that second season they ended up having, or the spin-off show whose name I forget. Like, I feel like by the time we find out something as voice actors, it is generally gone to every other, far and wide, everyone else knew it first. I hope so. I feel in a lot of ways like, even though they are different shows and Tiger and Bunny is not, like a shonen anime, I feel like Tiger and Bunny walked so that My Hero could run. That same sort of like, hey, we're talking about heroes living their lives, doing their things, and it's if you like MHA, like check out Tiger and Bunny. It's a different show, but it's.
It also ended on a huge cliffhanger, leaving many of threads open.
Yeah. Thanks, anime.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Guys, unfortunately, we do have to wrap this up. However, like we mentioned, if you guys didn't get your questions asked, if you think of something later on, if you haven't had a chance yet to meet the two of them in person, get the photos, autographs, all of that, I don't know what your schedule is. I don't know if you have lunches, photo ops, or but they will be back at their table today at some point. So make it a point to stop by and say hi to them and tell them how much you appreciate what they've done, all their work, and for being here in Kansas City with us. Have you guys had a good time this last hour?
Yes.
Right on.
Thanks for coming out.
Well, before you guys take off, we have a request of all of you. We'd like to get a photo with you for the convention to put out on social media. So if you guys want to fill in the empty space here in the front of the stage, we'll come to the edge of the stage here and get a quick photo with all of our friends.